In this second video about shadows, I'm going to teach you two other kinds that do not appear in the effects panel at all: solid drop shadows and cast shadows. So let's get to it. Instead of using the effects panel, we're going to use the layers panel here. I've got three layers here. The background is the green area, and that is locked. Then we have the type and objects. That's everything you see here with the blue bounding box, and the shadow layer, which we're going to use a lot. So let's start with our solid drop shadow first. Simply select the object, copy it, which is Control C or Command C, and then paste in place, which is Command Option Shift V on a Mac or Control Alt Shift V on a PC. With this object that we just pasted still selected, let's drag it down to the shadow layer, and let's lock the type and objects layer. Now we've got our shadow, and we want to change the color of that. Just the stroke will be fine because we're only going to see the edge of it. Now let's just move it a little bit. I'm moving it with using my little arrow keys. I'm going to just go down once and to the left once. And there we have just a bit of emphasis. It's not a very realistic looking shadow, but it's wonderful for emphasis. Let's do the same thing with our type here. We copy and paste in place. You can also use edit paste in place whenever you want to, if you can't remember that combination of keys. We'll take the object that we just pasted, put it on the shadow layer, lock the original layer, and let's make that type black. We have to use the text tool for that. Go to swatches, change the fill to black. Now we need to go back to our selection tool and just move it down, move it to the left. Of course, you could do the other side and up, whatever way you want to do it. It just gives a little emphasis. This is an excellent way to differentiate your type from a busy background. It's a little more classy than just using outlines, and designers everywhere use it. You'll see it everywhere. Now that you know what it is, you'll see it everywhere. Let's go to cast shadows. Now this is a different kind of a challenge, but we start with copy and paste as before. Copy, paste in place, move it to the shadow layer, lock the type and objects layer. And let's change the color of this. I set up some grays ahead of time. I think I'll use 60%. Oops, that was just the outline. I wanted the fill to be 60%. And of course you can't see it yet, but let's go to our free transform tool over here. And we're going to squash this layer down. There's our shadow. It's starting to lie on the ground there. Now let's also make it skew off to the side. They call that shear. Let's get the shear tool. This is our focal point in the center. We're going to shear it off sideways a little bit. Then we have to get our selection tool again and just move it to the right in this case so that the little feet of the star actually touch each other. Because they don't really touch each other at the moment, we'll get free transform tool again and squeeze it until they touch perfectly. That's nice. There's our shadow, but we're going to make it look more shadowy by going to the effects menu, go in FX, basic feather. Now this is the default measurement. I want to make it less of a feathering. Feathering is the fading out of the edges. And you can try these three different corner options to see which one you like best. Sharp is pretty good for a star. Rounded is not good at all. And diffused works just fine. So I'm going to click OK on that. Now, what if we want our shadow to be in front? You can do that too. Get your free transform tool and simply drag that shadow down any way you want in the front. So after you've made it, or even before you've made it, you can drag the shadow to a different place. Let's try this whole thing again on the type. It's the same but different. Let's try it. I'm going to go copy, paste in place, drag it to the shadow layer, lock the type layer. Now, in order to make this type different color, of course, we have to grab it with the text tool. Go to swatches and change the fill to, how about 40% black. Now, we need to make, we're going to be transforming the shape of this, so we need to make it into an object, and we do that by going Type, Create Outlines. Then we can get our free transform tool, and we can squeeze or squash or stretch. Let's do it like this just to be dramatic. And now we get our shear tool. Put the tool outside the red box, the bounding box, and go off in some direction. And then we need to get our selection tool again. Try to get the letters to line up so that it looks realistic. And we probably need the free transform tool again. You may have to fiddle with this for quite a while. Now it seems to me that shadow is a little bit off kilter, so I want to rotate it a little. See those arrows in the corners? Just rotate it down a tiniest bit. If you want to fiddle with this free transform tool and you want to have exact measurements for everything, go to Window, Object and Layout, Transform. Here you've got all your measurements, and this here is your reference point. You want the reference point usually to be in the center. Here you can change the X and the Y, the width, the height, and you can change the amount of shear or skewing to an exact number. Whatever you want to do if you're feeling like you need to be very precise with things. Let's leave this as it is, and let's go back to the Effects panel. Go to the FX menu, Basic Feather again. You can see that this feathering there's too much feathering, so we definitely need to change the width of that. And try the different corners. I think in this case I'll try rounded. Can't see very much of a difference, so we'll give it a little bit of noise just because we can. Click OK, and that is not bad. Now, if you want to get real perspective and have a true 3D looking effect with this shadow, you're going to have to use Illustrator, I'm afraid. You can't really do that in InDesign. But this is good enough for us for now. There we have cast shadows and a solid drop shadow. You could have fun and play with this all day. I hope you do.